do something about it. So he goes to the slave master and he says, sir, you have this slave, I want to buy this slave. So the cracker slave master said, he's not for sale. He said, I'll give you anything. He said, nah, that boy, he counts money for me, he does all my business, he knows algebra, he speaks Arabic, he speaks Spanish, he speaks English. He said, that boy, he's brilliant, I can't sell him to you. So they finally negotiated what his cracker gave him, I think was equivalent to about maybe 10 or 20,000 today. For the life of this brother. So when the brother was bought off the plantation, yet you got to put this in your mind that there's still slaves behind his carriage that this brother's being put into. So it's still slaves. The cracker carried the brother back to Timbuktu, and when he got to Timbuktu, and this is written, he said, Allahu Akbar, and he died of transition there in Timbuktu when he reached. So these are the kind of people that was put into slavery. Professors and black doctors. These crackers raided schools and institutions first. They don't tell you that. They raided schoolhouses. Then, for the actual process of resource development, they took people out of villages as well. But they don't tell you that. And it was geniuses that they put in those shackles and chains. When they came in, the indigenous people had a system of medicine. Now they call it shamanism, and like they're mocking it. But all the white man's institutions of medicine is built off all those particular dynamics that the indigenous people had all over the world. You know what I'm saying? They give you a Tylenol, but I tell you the herbal dynamics behind all the stuff they give you morphine, they give you all this stuff, but they don't tell you about the holistic reality behind all of these things. So here you got it. Whom they put into bondage. So we get into this whole dynamic with the Moorish Empire and with the transatlantic slave trade, one of the worst forms of terrorism ever experienced on the people, the Black African Holocaust, which we cannot deny, the Ma'afa or Mchinzo. The reason why some of us call it Ma'afa, which is like a disaster, that can be any kind of disaster, but we call it Mchinzo, which literally deals with the nature of the person that creates the Holocaust or disaster, that it emanates from the nature of this beast or person. So we get into this particular dynamic of things with this whole process of the transatlantic slave trade and how this particular slave trade was one of the worst forms of terrorism in history, in our story, your story too, where we've lost over 250 million lives, as UNESCO again record, 150 million they said, but other scholars have said 250 million lives that we lost just on the ships alone, where this cracker would actually take a black woman, rape her, 9 months roll by, take her off the ships and allow those on the ships to actually depart off the ships in shackles and chains. Actually had us so balled up in the ships like cockroaches in a bottle, or like sardines in a can, or like beans in a bowl. And take her and tie her feet and hang her upside down. 9 months, her belly full with a life that his white terrorists, rapists, syphilis, herpes, gonorrhea behind, put in her womb. And then take his rusty knife or rusty blade and then put a brick under her head. Slice open her stomach. The brick is there so that when the baby falls, the head can burst asunder. And umbilical cord falling, blood gushing, baby falling, and if the head didn't burst, this cracker, this no good terrorist bastard will take his boot heel and crush the black life. Then, this is what they did. And then take a black man, tie him upside down, emasculate him, blood gushing over him, burning him with the mud, actually making a puddle of muddy blood. And any slave that was departing off of that ship, watching the sister whose womb got cut, or watching the brothers whose fathers got cut, and they ooh and ah, they'll be shot in the throat, shot in the mouth, for expressing and trying to show emotions for each other. We weren't allowed to grieve or show emotion for each other. And you wonder why we're so numb today. You wonder why we act this way towards one another. So, then after that, take ropes, tie horses, and take a black man and a black woman. Take the ropes and take a horse or an oxen and tie the rope to the left arm, tie the rope to the right arm, tie the rope to the left feet, to the right feet, sometimes a head, sometimes the dress for the black woman and the phallus for the black man. And then shoot the horses or oxen and have them run in opposite directions, breaking off the arms, the legs, the phallus, and the breast and the head of the black man and the black woman. Terrorism. And then any slave that was caught moving an arm will be shot in the mouth, shot in the throat, stabbed in the mouth, stabbed in the throat, when allowed to express emotions and feelings for one another. And then take us. We were caught speaking evil, speaking of Khan, speaking Yoruba, speaking Dinka, Mandinka, Fulani, speaking the Sudanic language. Most people don't know about the slaves that came from East Africa as well. Speaking Amerindia, speaking Tigrinya, speaking Arabic or Hebrew or any African dynamic that we did speak, we will be shot in the throat, shot in the mouth, tongue cut out. Where they say, talk like this, nigga, walk like this, nigga, making us into niggas, making us into them. Think like this, nigga. Nah, those traditional African clothes you have it saggy too much, it's too bad, it's too loose. Nah, you gotta wear it like this, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Cut off the circulation to your body, nigga. Be like me, nigga. Making us into them, the nigga. When we go into the spiritual dynamic, the Creator didn't make niggas. When we go into our story, there were no niggas. There were no niggas that was made. The nigga was made in America by the cracker. And the nigga is a product of this social, economic, judicial, capitalist, internal colonialist, white supremacist, spiritual, religious order. So if a cracker wants to complain and don't like what he sees, he needs to take a look at himself and in the mirror at his own bestiality, because all a nigga is a black person or an indigenous person who is acting like a white person. A black hillbilly. That's a nigga. Spit. Let's get into spit. What does spit mean? Well, spit means speck of a nigga, which is no such thing. We are all who we are. We're no specks. We're fully people who we are. We're no specks of nothing. So we get into this dynamic of them making us the nigga, and then making a black woman have babies, raping her and forcing her to be raped. Many of the times, or most of the time, the babies were from him. Take the babies and train them up the way they want to train the babies, making us them. So when you see us out there killing and murdering and disunited, you're not looking at Omawales. You're not looking at the indigenous people of this land. You're looking at the Taino. You're not looking at the Boricua. You're not looking at the indigenous people. You're looking at Jackson, Johnson, Smith, and Jones, and Suarez, and Gonzalez. You're looking at the slave master. You're looking at Joseph. You're looking at Francois. You're not looking at Africans and indigenous people. You're looking at the slave master, but we're not acting. You look at the colonialists, well, we're not acting how we should be as the indigenous people of all the face of the planet Earth. So they made us into this particular dynamic, which is one of the first forms of terrorism, when they made us again into niggers. Then we're on the plantation. On the plantation, what was our daily dosage of food? Whips, lynchings, nigger hunts, as they call it. Whenever they would have their Christmas, their Thanksgiving, their 4th of July, and that's exactly what it is, a July, because you weren't free that day. You were still in bondage. You were still in slavery. You were still under colonialism and imperialism. So they would pick a black man, pick a black woman, have what they call picnics, or pick a nigga, which is where the term picnics come from. So don't you ever use that term in your vocabulary again, because picnic meant pick a nigga. As they would pick the black woman and hunt her, or rape her, the nigger hunts that took place in these particular dynamics of our experience. So we were beaten, raped, black men raped in front of their wives, black children raped in front of their parents. These no black crackers destroyed our black manhood and our black womanhood, our black familyhood, our indigenous manhood, and indigenous womanhood, our brown manhood and brown manhood. They destroyed our social hoods. They destroyed our communalism.